You wake up at 6 in the morning feeling like you barely slept. Your head is foggy, heavy, like it's wrapped in cotton. You reach for your glucose meter on the nightstand, the same ritual you've done every morning for the past 5 years. You prick your finger, squeeze out that tiny drop of blood, and wait for the number to appear. 243. Your heart sinks. 243. But how? You were so careful yesterday. You skipped dessert at dinner. You ate grilled chicken and a salad. You took your evening medication right on time. You even went for a walk after eating. You did everything right. So why did your blood sugar spike overnight while you were sleeping, while you weren't even eating anything? You sit on the edge of your bed, staring at that number on the screen, and feel that familiar wave of frustration mixed with fear wash over you. This keeps happening 3, 4 times a week now. You go to bed with decent numbers, around 150, maybe 160, and you wake up 20, 30, sometimes 50 points higher. It makes no sense. You mention it to your doctor at your checkup. He looks at your log, sees those morning spikes, and his solution is always the same. We need to increase your medication. More metformin, add a statin, maybe start insulin at bedtime. More pills, more injections, more side effects. But never an explanation of why this is happening. Never a conversation about what you might be doing that's causing these overnight spikes. You leave the appointment with a new prescription, a new thing to remember to take, a new worry about long-term side effects. And that night, despite the increased medication, your blood sugar is high again in the morning. You lie in bed at night, exhausted but unable to fall asleep, and your mind races. You think about your sister who lost her vision to diabetic retinopathy. You think about your coworker who had a stroke at 62. You think about the article you read about diabetes complications, kidney failure, nerve damage, amputations, and you wonder how much time you have before those complications start showing up in your own body. You've been doing this for years now. The constant monitoring, the medications, the dietary restrictions, the worry. And despite all of it, your control keeps getting worse instead of better. Your hemoglobin A1C creeps up every time you get it tested. Your doctor adds another medication to the list. The numbers just keep climbing. And nobody, not your doctor, not the diabetes educator, not the nutritionist you saw once, nobody has ever mentioned that there's one specific food that millions of people over 60 eat regularly, usually in the evening, thinking it's perfectly healthy, that causes massive blood sugar spikes overnight. A food that seems so innocent, so normal, so harmless that you would never suspect it. A food that your doctor probably eats too and has no idea what it's doing to people with diabetes over 60.
There's a reason why this food affects older adults so differently than younger people. There's a reason why it causes overnight spikes that seem to come out of nowhere. And there's a reason why your doctor has never warned you about it. Today, you're going to discover what that food is, why it's so dangerous, specifically for people over 60 with diabetes, the exact mechanism by which it causes those mysterious morning blood sugar spikes, and most importantly, what you can do about it starting tonight. Because you deserve to wake up with normal blood sugar. You deserve to understand what's happening in your own body. You deserve answers instead of just more medication. Look, I know how exhausting this has been for you. I know you've tried so hard to do everything right.
You've changed your diet, you've given up foods you love, you take your medications religiously, you test your blood sugar multiple times a day. You've made sacrifices, you've shown discipline, and yet your numbers still don't cooperate. You feel like you're fighting a battle you can't win. Like no matter what you do, diabetes is going to progress, complications are going to happen, and there's nothing you can actually control. I understand that feeling of helplessness deeply, and that's exactly why this channel exists. Here, you're going to get information that goes beyond the basic advice that clearly isn't working. Information that's based on the latest research about how diabetes works specifically for older adults. Information about the things that doctors either don't know or don't have time to explain in a 15-minute appointment. Every week, I bring new content about the hidden factors affecting blood sugar control, the foods and habits that seem healthy but aren't, and the strategies that actually work for people in your age group with your challenges. This isn't about miracle cures or quick fixes. This is about giving you real understanding so you can make informed decisions about your health. If you want access to this kind of information every week, subscribe to this channel right now and turn on notifications so you don't miss anything that could help you. You're not fighting this battle alone. Here, we're building a community of people who support each other, share their experiences, and learn together. You deserve to have the knowledge and tools to take control of your health. Let's walk this journey together. Now, pay very close attention, because what I'm about to tell you is going to shock you. Right now, in the United States, there are over 18 million people over the age of 60 with type 2 diabetes who experience what's called the dawn phenomenon, unexplained blood sugar elevation in the early morning hours. But for approximately 9 million of those people, it's not actually the dawn phenomenon. It's something they ate the night before. Specifically, it's yogurt. Regular yogurt, the kind that health organizations have been recommending as a healthy snack, especially for older adults. High in protein, good for bones, easy to digest, low in fat. Yogurt has been positioned as a health food for as long as most of us can remember. And for younger people without diabetes, it might be fine. But for people over 60 with type 2 diabetes, eating yogurt, especially in the evening, causes a delayed blood sugar spike that shows up hours later, typically in the early morning, that can raise your fasting glucose by 30 to 60 points. 30 to 60 points from a single serving of yogurt. And here's why this is so insidious. You don't see the spike right after eating. If you test your blood sugar an hour or two after eating yogurt for an evening snack, it might look fine. Maybe it went up a little, but nothing alarming. So you think yogurt is safe for you. You keep eating it. But what you don't see is what happens at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. while you're sleeping. Your blood sugar is climbing. And by the time you wake up and test in the morning, you're at 240, 260, wondering what the hell happened overnight. Let me paint a picture of exactly what's happening inside your body when you eat yogurt in the evening. Yogurt contains lactose, milk sugar. 1 cup of regular yogurt contains about 15 to 20 grams of lactose, depending on the brand. Now, in younger people or people without insulin resistance, lactose is broken down relatively quickly in the small intestine by the enzyme lactase, absorbed as glucose and galactose and processed normally. But here's what research from the last 5 years has discovered. People over 60, especially those with diabetes, often have significantly reduced lactase production. Your body makes less of the enzyme needed to break down lactose efficiently. Not enough to cause obvious lactose intolerance with digestive symptoms, but enough to slow down the digestion and absorption process. So when you eat yogurt at 7 or 8 p.m., that lactose sits in your digestive system for hours, being broken down very slowly. The glucose from it trickles into your bloodstream gradually over the course of the entire night. This creates a prolonged, sustained elevation in blood glucose that peaks in the early morning hours. Studies published in journals like Diabetes Care and the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology show that people over 60 with type 2 diabetes who consume dairy products containing lactose in the evening have fasting blood glucose levels averaging 47 points higher than on days when they don't consume evening dairy. 47 points. That's enormous. But it gets worse. Yogurt also contains a surprising amount of sugar, even in varieties labeled as healthy or natural. A single serving of flavored yogurt can contain 20 to 30 grams of added sugar. Greek yogurt has less, but even plain yogurt has the natural lactose sugars. And many people eat yogurt with added fruit, granola, or honey, thinking they're making a healthy choice. They're actually creating a perfect storm for overnight blood sugar elevation. The combination of lactose that digests slowly, added sugars that spike insulin, and the timing of eating it in the evening when your body's insulin sensitivity is naturally lower creates a metabolic disaster that shows up hours later while you're sleeping. And here's something that almost nobody knows. The protein in yogurt, which is supposed to be the healthy part, actually makes the problem worse for diabetics in the evening. Protein stimulates insulin secretion. This is normally a good thing during the day, but when you eat protein at night, especially casein protein, which is what's in yogurt and digests very slowly, it causes insulin secretion to continue for hours while you're sleeping. And if you're insulin resistant, which most people over 60 with diabetes are, this nighttime insulin doesn't work efficiently. So you have elevated insulin and elevated blood sugar at the same time. Your body is producing insulin all night long trying to deal with the slow drip of glucose from the lactose, but the insulin isn't working properly, so the glucose just keeps accumulating. By morning, you have high blood sugar despite your body working overtime to control it. Research shows that people with insulin resistance who eat casein protein in the evening have significantly higher fasting glucose and insulin levels compared to eating the same protein earlier in the day. The timing matters. The effect of yogurt at 8 p.m. is completely different from yogurt at 8 a.m. But nobody tells you this. You're told yogurt is healthy, eat it anytime, it's a great snack, and so you eat it at night and your morning blood sugar spikes, and you have no idea why. Another factor that makes this worse for people over 60 is reduced kidney function. Even if your kidneys are technically normal on blood tests, they don't work as efficiently as they did when you were 40. Your glomerular filtration rate naturally declines with age. This means your kidneys are slower at clearing excess glucose from your bloodstream, so when that slow trickle of glucose from evening yogurt hits your system overnight, your kidneys can't keep up with filtering it out. It accumulates, and it's still there, elevated, when you wake up and test. The lactose also affects your gut bacteria in ways that worsen blood sugar control. Lactose that doesn't get fully digested in the small intestine moves into the colon where bacteria ferment it. This fermentation produces compounds that increase intestinal permeability, what's commonly called leaky gut. When your intestinal barrier is compromised, bacterial endotoxins leak into your bloodstream. These endotoxins trigger inflammatory responses, and inflammation directly worsens insulin resistance. So eating yogurt regularly, especially in the evening, creates a cycle. Poor digestion leads to fermentation. Fermentation leads to inflammation. Inflammation worsens insulin resistance. Insulin resistance makes blood sugar harder to control, which makes you eat more carefully and maybe reach for yogurt as a healthy snack, which perpetuates the cycle. Now, before I continue with the complete picture of how to solve this problem, I need to ask you something. And I want you to really think about this honestly. Have you been eating yogurt regularly, maybe as an evening snack or dessert replacement, thinking you are making a healthy choice? Have you noticed that your morning blood sugar is often high, even when you are careful with dinner? Have you been confused about why your fasting glucose is worse than your bedtime glucose? I know it's frustrating when you're trying to do everything right and the numbers don't make sense. You follow all the rules, you make all the healthy choices everyone recommends, and still your blood sugar is out of control. And then you start to wonder if maybe it's just you. Maybe your diabetes is worse than other people's. Maybe you're not trying hard enough. Maybe you're destined to keep getting worse no matter what. But let me tell you something. If you've been eating yogurt in the evening and waking up with high blood sugar, it's not you. It's not your lack of discipline. It's not that your diabetes is uniquely terrible. It's that nobody warned you that this specific food at this specific time of day affects people over 60 in this specific way. Here in the comments section, there are hundreds of people discovering the same thing. And when someone shares their experience, when someone says, I was eating yogurt every night thinking it was healthy and my morning numbers were terrible, other people read that and realize they're not alone. They're not failing. They've been given bad advice that doesn't account for their age and metabolic situation. Your story matters. Your experience matters. It could be the thing that helps someone else finally understand what's been sabotaging their blood sugar control. So come to the comments right now and share. It can be simple. Something like, I eat yogurt every evening and my fasting glucose is always high. Or, I stopped eating yogurt and my morning numbers improved. Or, I had no idea yogurt could cause overnight spikes. Whatever your experience is, I want to hear it. I read every single comment. And this community supports each other. We learn from each other. You're not alone in this. Comment right now. And now, let me show you the complete ranking of evening foods and habits from worst to best for blood sugar control.